Victoria 2. Released in 2010, this grand strategy game, although is relatively small compared to other Paradox games, has gained a devoted following that has only been increasing recently, despite it being years since a good update. Looking at how many active players there are over time, went from 252 players in July 2012 to hitting its all-time peak of 2,276 players in January 2021. So the question is why, especially considering the game has barely been changed since 2015 and is notorious for having a very steep learning curve in comparison to other Paradox games. But first, 70% of you who watch our videos aren't subscribed. So if you're looking for new Victoria 2 content, please consider clicking that button. So the first point I want to bring up is that a major factor in Victoria 2 maintaining a devoted following is the replayability of the game. When you start a campaign, you can play as over 200 nations, which means no campaign is the same, and gives the player variety every time they start to play as a different country. Although some countries might need a colour change if you don't have DLC. It could be argued though that EU4 has more replayability since it has over 500 nations to play as, and goes on for a longer period of time. But something that is unique to Victoria 2 that gives it high replayability is the population system. This is Victoria 2's way of simulating an ever-changing populace that can completely change the way in which a country performs over time. For example, a type of group, clergymen, increases the literacy rate of your population, which can massively benefit your country. Overall, therefore, the large number of nations you can pick, combined with the unique mechanics of Victoria 2, means some players have thousands of hours in the game. Another thing to consider, like most Paradox games, is there are a large amount of good mods you can get in Victoria 2. If you're bored of playing in the same timeline, you can get the Cold War Enhancement mod and play as the Soviet Union. Or, if you want to add some historical flavour to the game, then the Historical Project mod does this for you. There are some also weird and wacky mods Victoria 2 has, as you can see. Ultimately, mods add a completely new dynamic to the game, and could intrigue people to play the game with these mods. There's no question that since Victoria 2's release, Paradox have launched much more successful games, such as Europa Universalis 4 and Hearts of Iron 4, with both of them having a much larger player base. Paradox games such as these have led to an increased interest in other Paradox games such as Victoria 2, and the same logic can be applied to Paradox YouTubers who have initially played more popular Paradox games, and then have made Victoria 2 content, encouraging other people who play the similar games of EU4 and Hearts of Iron 4 to get Victoria 2. This reason can therefore explain the rise of interest in Victoria 2 over time, since Paradox creators have tended to play Victoria 2 more recently. The final point I want to make are the memes around the Victoria 2 game. Like most other Paradox games, Victoria 2 has a small but very active subreddit that share tons of Victoria 2 memes and share different scenarios in the game, making the game more interesting to people. One big meme in the Victoria 2 game is Victoria 3. Over time, a large amount of people who play Victoria 2 love the game, but believe it needs a sequel. Therefore, many people have wanted Victoria 3, and it's become a meme that everyone wants it, since other Paradox game sequels have taken priority. We can even see Paradox make a joke about it when they announced CK3 last year. The memes of Victoria have increased interest in the game, leading to new players playing it, despite Paradox not doing a significant amount of marketing for the game in recent years. But perhaps the meme of Victoria 3 may end next month, with Paradox announcing a new game at the end of May. Make sure to check out a similar video I did for EU4, and shout out to Echo and Zachary Trailer for helping me out in some of my recent videos.